ladies and gents, welcome back once again to Chaos TV's live coverage of the US Challenger Series number 11. I'm joined by Pulse, and we are into the picks and bans for game number 2 between Dignitas UK and Smart People. I'm hoping my internet keeps up this time. It was really unfortunate timing, middle of a team fight last time around, but that being said, fairly comfortable performance from Dignitas UK overall there, Pulse.
Yes, indeed, and the first ban champion will be Caston, so they're going along the same line so far. Not going to be any targeted bans just as of yet. And we've said this during the break, and I still think it's extremely relevant that Smart People play, I wouldn't say completely like a solo queue team, because I think that's that would be a bit too harsh, because they actually do have some cohesion. But the way they pick, at least in the picking phase, seems like you would in solo queue, where like, okay, this pick would be good in this situation, rather than like, you know, a composition by Dignitas or the rest of the teams we've seen where they go with compositions which actually have some synergy with each other, you know, like a standard AoE composition or like an all-in composition with, you know, like a strong support or AD carry behind them. But the way Smart People play it is they just kind of wait for the picks and just do what they feel would be good in the right situation, which is the good way to go about it. But at the same time, when you're at this level of play, you need some sort of strategy when you get into the picks and bans.
It's very true. We were speaking about it in the break, as you say, and the way I likened it is that they're kind of like 5 individuals. They don't come across to me as having the cohesion of a well-oiled machine, as a 5 team. Whereas you look at Dignitas, and fair enough, Samwise is subbing in as the AD carry role. Now, Pulse, you know these guys a lot better than I do. You've even casted Insomnia before where they were taking part. I think the 4-piece of Nitrix and Palo, Cook My Sock and Yarrow have been together actually a very long time now. So that does come through in their team play, it does come through in their cohesion. Whereas you look at Smart People, yes, individually very talented, very good players mechanically, but when it comes to those team fights, sometimes they're a bit lacking. Sometimes it's just not really working.
Yeah, we'll see what they can do in this lineup. Again, I'm just expecting to see a wildly different composition, and I'm looking at the potential Vi pickup, and yeah, wildly different composition, case in point. So I'm looking at the Twisted Fate so far. Again, wasn't banned out, and we haven't seen it banned out too much in the Challenger series, but Twisted Fate is an incredibly good pick. Like, the mobility he has all over the map, and also the chance to, with the picking potential, if they could go with several different pickups, which are also good in pick scenarios. They might even go like Twitch AD carry or Evelyn jungle, and then you've immediately got 2 or 3 people just appearing, and then you have the initiation, then you go for a team fight immediately after. So many different potential opportunities with the Twisted Fate pickup.
So you're gonna love this, Pulse, because I know you are an avid Vi jungler.
Yeah,
they have locked in the Vi, so we're gonna be seeing your best character. I believe you got to like Plat 3 predominantly using Vi jungle, so you're probably licking your lips here, loving every second of this. It is back over Dignitas. 2nd and 3rd picks. Of course, Cook My Sock is probably going to be opting for a different role, considering his Twisted Fate's already been picked up, but they're hovering over the Yorick and Aatrox. Interesting composition if they get locked in, to say the least.
Yeah, okay, so theory crafting a little bit about that, and I'm kind of tentative because they could easily swap up at a moment's notice, but Yorick in the top lane, or even in a 1 versus 2 lane, is exceptionally strong. Had a couple of nerfs, but he's very specific, and you know, I get why they've swapped up to Caitlyn. Aatrox in the top lane generally likes to max, or people are starting to max his E, the Blades of Torment, and that gives him an incredibly good slow. I think it's like 40%, and it increases the duration, which is also the ability to farm at range, and the initiation and just follow up is really, really good for Aatrox. People are starting to feel that his W is less strong, putting points into that early, and his trading potential is very, very good, and as an initiator as well. So we'll see how this one falls. Haven't seen it before by Dignitas, and not too much myself. So we'll see how this falls in this game.
I had to go back to LCS again. This is something that Gambit Gaming use a lot with Darian. He likes Aatrox very much. He's very aggressive. He's going to jump right into the fray and do as much damage as possible. And of course, his passive, if it is off cooldown and available, it's kind of like a Zillion ult, so to speak, where you're going to come back up with a set amount of health and you're going to be able to rinse and repeat again. So it's going to be interesting to see how Smart People try and combat the Aatrox. Also important to mention that Caitlyn was locked in, not Yorick there at the end. So they've got their AD carry in, and on the flip side, it's going to be Pantheon and Lux as they actually quit out of the lobby. So I assume there was a placeholder pick somewhere around there, but not too sure what's happening just yet.
Yeah, it could be the Pantheon. It's been a long time since I've seen a
True.
Pantheon be in, in the jungle or anywhere, in fact, in competitive play. So we'll wait on that one. And yes, and not too much to comment on for now. But yes, the Vi pick. I'm already looking forward to talking about that at length during the champion picks. And apparently, it's a DC. That's what I'm
Yeah.
hearing from a Dignitas dress. And can we get some confirmation on that? Okay, yeah.
Yes, they said it in the lobby that Arshato's DC'd, so they are going to be jumping back in once again. The lobby is back up, and the picks and bans are coming out thick and fast. I say that, but Just Shen has been locked in as a ban, so I'm not too sure what smart people are waiting for. They are going to be running through the Dr. Mundo instead.
Okay, so I'm currently waiting for that to come up on stream as well, because I am currently casting over stream, just for the duration of picks and bans until we get into the game, and I will be on the same page, reading from the same page you guys are. And Dr. Mundo, yeah, okay, so... Wait, hang on. Why are they... What?
I think they're doing kind of troll bans because they've already gone through this process before.
What happens
because...
if they want to pick out Mundo?
That's a good question. This is where Dignitas are like, hey, we really wanted like a Mundo support, so
Remake.
you forfeit. I don't see Mundo being picked anytime this century for Dignitas,
yeah.
but yeah, so looks like Cook My Sock is going to be on Ari. Ari was not banned this time around, was in the first game, but I would be surprised if Cook My Sock actually went for Ari, considering that Twisted Fate has already been locked in. So no, they just switched over. Okay, they're trolling me.
Oh, okay. I was going to be like, oh, they could be doing some interesting tactics by swapping up Twisted Fate into the bot lane, but no, they're not actually going to bring that out. But yeah, of course, Cook Myself always plays the Ari. Like, I can't think of a single tournament where I haven't seen him on the Ari, and it is incredibly strong. It makes sense to go for that type of pickup. So, yep, just going with the picks we had from earlier, and the Sona as well. So they're going to have some pretty decent team fighting potential, and the Vi, of course, has some amazing initiation potential if she builds tank, which she probably will be doing. And we're just waiting on the rest of the picks.
Yeah, so Aatrox has been locked in as we're expecting. It is back over to smart people once again. This is around the time where they did get the disconnect prior. So this time around, Jace and Twitch have both been locked in. I'm playing a lot of Twitch right now. I feel he's incredibly strong in solo queue, so I'm very interested to see how Samus is going to approach the Dirty Rat in that laning phase. And on the flip side, they're actually going for, looks like a potential Thresh, and they're just hovering over that 5th pick.
Yeah, so Twitch is very, very good at picks, and so is Twisted Fate, in fact. Twisted Fate might be able to use his ultimate to counteract some of that, but Twitch is exceptionally good. He's not great in siege scenarios, juxtaposed by Caitlyn, who is incredibly good in siege scenarios. So they won't be going for those, but they have decent pokes so far. Of course, they have Jace, and they have a little bit from Sona, but that's kind of negligible when we get into later into the mid-game. For the early game, it's pretty damn significant if she chooses to max it, which most Sonas do. But they're really looking for those pick scenarios and potentially the team fights as well. Again, I'm not seeing a huge amount of team synergy in the picks. We'll see what comes out from the last pick from Samus. Usually when we look at their team composition, we don't see anything immediately, but then we see a little bit of synergy later on as we start thinking about it. But again, it seems to be exactly what we're looking at.
I am really curious as to what you're thinking about this, Paul. So I know you're on stream, so maybe you're just catching up now, but that's going to be Twisted Fate, Aatrox, Malphite, Thresh, and Caitlyn for Dignitas. That's a very interesting composition.
Yeah, right. So Malphite might be in the jungle. In fact, it could be Aatrox in the jungle. That's what they've swapped it to at the moment. I haven't seen Aatrox in the jungle, and we just very briefly talked about Darian from Gambit, who likes to pick him in the top lane, and it makes sense in the top lane. For ganking Aatrox, he has the Dark Flight, and he has a little bit of CC. Of course, if he lands it in the very center of the Dark Flight, he gets the knock-up, which is very good, and he has very good gank lanes as well, excluding Malphite until he hits 6. But his gank lanes are very good, so I can see the Aatrox pick, actually. Yeah, I like it. I wouldn't say it's all in. It has very good scaling. It suffers a little from the problem with his Yi, but he also has CC, so that makes up for it. But he needs to have a good start, essentially, because while his passive is absolutely amazing, it's basically a free Guardian Angel, he needs to get ahead enough to make that worthwhile.
Yeah, very true. And we are in a delay right now, ladies and gents. So we're going to cut to a very quick commercial break. And when we rejoin us, we'll be live for game number 2 between Dignitas UK and Smart People here in the EUS Challenger Series number 11 quarterfinals. We'll be right back.
Hello and welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to EUS Challenger Series number 11 with the second best of 3 in the second game between Smart People and Dignitas UK. Both of these teams coming out of the gates, and once again, it doesn't look like we're going to have invades happening. Going to be tentative about saying that, but yeah, it does indeed look like we're just going to have the standard wards coming out, the early game vision. However, Jason at the top, and Dishak actually receives some damage to the face. Lands the Hawk as well, and will be jumping over, connecting the death sentence. Samwise picks up the first kill. And I said no action, but first blood goes down.
It did definitely come out of nowhere, though. Judging from Dishak's positioning, I don't think he realised that ward was down. The mastery ward was down in the bush, and that just gave complete vision on him. Gold card into death sentence is pretty much all she wrote here. Yarrow needs to be careful. Jace is there waiting. Gets a couple of auto attacks away, and Yarrow walks back just laughing in his face, basically. Is that the best you got? But hey, Pulse, Vi, go. I know you can't wait to talk about that. This guy's got like a 75% win rate over 50 games with Vi, so I feel like you have earned the right, Pulse, to give some analysis on this champion.
Yeah, I'm at plat 3. I'm not the most amazing player, but I'm not a terrible player, and I will at least have the mechanical skill. But being on the top lane mechanical skill aside, Rom trading off with Nitrix and actually not doing too well at all. You generally expect Jace to be the duelist, but Nitrix being so damn tanky as Malphite turned out very well indeed. Grand Slam coming out. And I will also pass it over to you, pass the baton over to Method, because I know you play a lot of Twitch, so there's lots to analyse when there's some lulls in the action. But knowing both of these teams, not really expecting it. So Vi has picked up the flash, and personally I do like the exhaust because I think she's an early game carry jungle. At least that's how I play her. In competitive play, you generally see a more tanky build. For junglers right now, we see the death sentence landing onto Dishak, doesn't quite follow. We're just having some ward fights. And I'll pick up on it if anything goes deep. But Samwise actually finds him as well when he returns to lane. Flash comes from Yarrow, doesn't connect the flame, doesn't have level 2 just yet. And Samux trading off as well as they were chasing after. And actually Samwise probably came out behind that trade as well. And, okay, so Vi picking up the flash, lots of interesting things she can do. As she's charging up the Q, she can also flash, so there's lots of positional things you can do. With, in competitive play, they generally like to go tanky, and Samux actually gets hit by the death sentence again. No level 2 from Yarrow, so can't secure the kill. I honestly want to start theory crafting, but these teams are just too aggressive.
They basically just, it's like they're listening right now. They're like, no Pulse, no theory crafting. We want to be aggressive once again, but it looks as though things are kind of easing out a bit, so go ahead. Yeah, in fact, whenever we say that, that's when like a pentakill comes in.
Yeah, and Aptos is looking for this gank in the mid lane, starting to charge up the Q. I'm just surprised he didn't immediately see that, but Impaler coming in from the side, in fact he did, looking for the counter gank. Tons of damage coming out. Samwise in the bot lane, meanwhile, picks up the kill onto Samux, but Impaler popped into his passive. Meanwhile, top lane, Nitrix dropped to Zerom. So much action coming across already. Aptos drops incredibly low, but Impaler does no longer have his passive, and he can't be quite as ballsy and even go for these sorts of pseudo dives as well. Meanwhile, on the bot lane, Sona can be completely zoned out of EXP range, and Dignitas coming out pretty well in all of these lanes.
This is just a big case of WTF. You've got a kill at top lane, kill at bot lane, and then in mid you've got a massive gank kicking off with 4 players in there. So just all hell breaking loose across the map. And you got to say that overall, Dignitas UK definitely coming out ahead, just about 900 gold ahead, 2 and 1 kills. So going back to Vi once again, where you left off when all the action broke loose there is that in competitive play, a lot of the top players do build her tanky.
Yeah, in competitive play, building tank gives you the initiation potential, and generally junglers in the early game, like to have high damage so they can get those kills out. Early game ganking junglers I mentioned before, and then they perform more of a utility role, and Vi has that all over. She has a lot of damage built in as well, so that she's not like ignorable. Meanwhile on the top lane, Nitro takes some hits, but Zerom just stomping out his aggression. Vi with the ultimate can just literally, as soon as she lands that, it's got such a huge range, she 100% will get onto Samwise. It doesn't matter what Yarrow does. It's a bit like the Olaf thing when we used to see Olaf in competitive play. When he popped his Ragnarok, it was just, he would run at your AD carry and no one could stop him. But because it's also on target, she'll just carry on going even if you flash. So you can do some interesting mechanics where you can wait and predict when they're going to flash or when they jump over a wall. Gonna hold that for a second because Rum knocking Nitrix towards his tower, but Pale looking for this kill, and Vi's heading up as well, so we could see this counter guy. In fact, he might find Impaler to fight this one out. He will win in the trade. He has the superior trading power. Immediately gets the denting blows out. We'll have the extra attack speed. 2 more charges on that, looking for the proc, and doesn't quite get it. But the ganks from both of these jungles are incredibly strong, but Aratos should have it in the early game.
Yeah, so it's similar to Nautilus in the sense that when he pops off his ultimate, his depth charge, the anchor is going to come running after you. But in Vi's case, it's her. It's not an anchor, it's her, just batting your face in. Samrex has been caught again from death sentence. This is the 2nd or 3rd time, and he's gonna pay it with his life. So death sentence living up to the name. And I've just got to scratch my head at Samrex. He's playing Twitch, a character who does not have a natural escape. If his flash is down, he is very vulnerable. And that's the 2nd or 3rd time he's been caught, Pulse. So picking Twitch in these kind of situations, you got to say, it's just not working for them.
No, and so many times we've seen him caught by the death sentence, and now that Yero's starting to get some levels under his belt, he has more and more CC. And we haven't even seen like a Dark Passions gang just yet, but meanwhile on the mid lane, Exeter drops so low, Ultra Attack comes in from Impaler, and it just seems like smart people collapsing before their composition can even pull through. Astratos charging his Q, Bot Breaker comes down, actually lands it onto Impaler. It will be forcing them back, and I'm actually interested in seeing what he's going to max. Okay, so this is something a lot of Vi players do. They'll max the E. But if you actually do the mathematics on it, it's actually not as efficient as picking up like a Vault Breaker. And because she's a very bursty jungler, she's almost like a carry jungler in the early game, maxing the Q does so much more damage, it makes way more sense. Yes, the cooldown goes down on excessive force, but it's just not worth it when there's so much more damage to be found in the rest of the kit.
Well, I would love to comment on Vi, but honestly, Pauls, I don't feel like I have anywhere near the vast amount of knowledge as you on this character. Played her maybe 10 times maximum, and those were in normal games trolling around. So I'm not going to go head-to-head with you on that one, but Destiny has been used here at the bot lane. It's not going to help you to go into ambush because it's going to see you through that, and now chasing afterwards, but doesn't seem like Yero or Samwise were on the same page there. So Destiny and Gold Card landed, but neither of that duo lane was ready to follow it up and connect the dots. Either way, lots of global presence, as we were mentioning previously about Twisted Fate. It's one of the reasons he's banned so often, but needs to be careful. Exeter was waiting in the bush there on top of a ward, but looks like they're going to go ahead and try and just steal away this blue.
3-man Innovate coming in here, and 4 men to counter-engage, and got the ward down, and Samux will find him. He's currently in stealth, so this is the classic people appearing out of nowhere. Great interrupt comes down, but a Swords and Battery from Astratos. He's looking to follow up, and in fact, the Q comes off cooldown after the interrupt, only 3 seconds on that, but actually walks straight into the box. He's so careful, lands the hook straight into the ace in the hole, and Rampage for Samwise. They're still trying to take this blue, and already picking up the jungle. They don't have the smite to try and take this away from them.
Again, it's like Samwise has the scoreline, but it's definitely been Yero making the plays. Death sentences are plenty. That was a max range death sentence on Vi, and it secured the kill for his AD carry once again. So just beautiful play coming out from Yero. He's now looking to land another death sentence around the corner on Exeter, jumping in as well. Strangleforce will be coming out, however, and the Ignite as well. So this is going to be very close for Impaler, but he's going to go into his passive and should be just fine. So Sona gives chase, but too little too late. Jerome from the side finds himself in the middle of 3 players who are quite low, so he's trying his luck here, he's fancying his chances, but it's not going to happen. And suddenly it's turned into a 7-for-1 scoreline. And whereas the last game was fairly close at this point in time, this game is already slipping through the cracks.
Yeah, slipping through the fingers of smart people. They've got to be careful about this. They could even pick up another objective in the form of a Drake. Astratos for some damage, but meanwhile we've got Nitrix looking for bigger fish to fry. With Impaler jumping in with his Dark Flight, immediately picking up the kill. So much CC on the single target. They lock one person up, there's so much to follow. And this will be the Drake as well. Just Dignitas edging ahead. 5k in the lead already. This is very significant.
And that's the problem, that, you know, Impaler has a bullseye on his head now that his Bloodwell is off his passive. But you don't want to dive him too deep because he's got a very nice team around him. Cookmysock is in a lot of problems here. Astratos is chasing. Here comes the gold card right now from Cookmysock. But he's actually stunned a minion and will be dying for that mishap. And I think he's probably face desking right about now. Death Sentence has landed from the side. Nice flate in as well, but they don't have enough carry-up damage from Samwise or Nitrix. So this is going to be a push tower, but still I think Cut My Sock is probably having a few quiet words to himself.
Okay, so Assault and Battery is up from Atratos, and with Jace coming around the side, they could definitely look for this. Edging the gap, and now jumping on to Yero of all people. Not sure if that's the best person to jump on. Jerome follows up, but Unstoppable comes in for Samwise. He didn't lock him up, the Assault and Battery. It's points and click. With the Dark Flight coming in as well, this could definitely be another kill onto Exeter. He's been maxing the Blades of Torment, so much damage coming out. Moving now onto Dizhack and Jerome, just trying to get out of here. They should be good to go, but with Dark Flight up, he'll be able to connect the distance over the wall. Dizhack is recalling. What are you doing? Now with Impaler on his face, this is surely going to be another kill. Jace has been forced back into the fray, and actually picks up the kill onto Yero, reclaiming a kill. Very good judgment, but this is just back and forth, and Dignitas are coming out ahead.
They are. Can Impaler catch on? Jerome right now. The answer looks fairly likely if this Dark Flight lands. Acceleration Gate has been used. Here comes the E as well. And the Destiny from Twisted Fate. That should seal the deal. Zamux from the side, however, on Twitch is going to try his best. He's going to be firing upon Impaler, who will flash away. Gold card coming in, flashing out as well. Zamux, nice wild cards land. And Impaler goes in, but wrong place at the wrong time. Artratos from the side. Spray and pray as well from the Drake area. And that will finally be Impaler dying for his first death, although he's been on death's door like 5 or 6 times thus far, Pulse.
Yeah, Bloodwell is an exceptionally strong passive, and as a jungler, in fact, I'm seeing as to why it is so good, because he can afford to be incredibly aggressive, and that's a great sort of safety net for a jungler, because you can jump onto a very risky dive or a very risky gank and have it work out, because you can be soaking up the damage, go into the Bloodwell and be A-OK. After that actually comes to fruition. So actually very good pickup in the end. But 12 and 5 right now, about 5k ahead still. So proportionally it's very slightly less, but smart people need to keep it going, making sure they get these kills in the right places. Atratos is looking for this gank in the top lane, as has Assault and Battery in a couple seconds as well, but it should be long enough to pick up Nitrix. I say that, but Ultimate comes across the wall, and Unstoppable Force is such a long range.
Yeah, it does, and it's a bit of a consolation there from both Artratos and Jerome. They popped off the Unstoppable Force, but with Drake not being up, it's not such a big deal for Malphite, for Nitrix. So 126-second cooldown, already 10 or so seconds of which have been burnt. So he's going to have the ultimate up before another Drake fight happens, you have to feel. And that's not necessarily the worst news for him in the world. But this has been a really strange game, Pulse. Like, coming up to 13 minutes, 17 kills. How aggressive is that from both teams?
Yeah, we saw this in the first game as well, and I think the passing comment was that it already seems like, 20-30 minutes into the game, because it was like 16 minutes into the game, we already had all the outer turrets down, and it looks like we're going to have a repeat of that in this game as well, with 2 towers currently out. Excellent, looking to pick up the kill onto Impaler, but Dark Passage comes out from Yero, and just the mobility from the team is second to none. So another push coming from Samwise, and again, all the outer turrets down, and they're ahead in kills to where they were in the first game. Dignitas looking very impressive.
They are, and Samwise having a phenomenal performance again. Last time around, similar scoreline, I believe he was on about 6-1. Oh, actually they've gone for the Assault and Battery on Impaler, but instantly Dark Passaging away, and I'm not sure about you, Pulse, but seems like a bit of a wasted ultimate.
Yeah, I mean, Atratos saw the opportunity because he was starting to use Dark Flight, and then he was able to interrupt it halfway through that happening. But then Dark Passage came down. Yero, it's just so difficult to get past. He has so many tools in his toolkit to make sure that people stay alive, all for CC and the Dark Passage included. Nitrix found himself caught the top lane. They have a lot of damage to make this happen, and Nitrix is surely going to hit the Death Chamber. So let's see who's going to pick up the kill. I'm surprised Jerome flashed for that, though.
Wow.
That was interesting, but I guess he really wanted the kill.
Well, I don't even know what to say. Like, Nitrix is probably thinking, God damn it, I've just been ganked, I used my Unstoppable Force, I'm not even going to be able to burn anyone's summoners, and then suddenly Jerome's like, Flash, I'll take that kill, thank you very much. So, a bit of a head scratcher. They were going to pick up that kill regardless, I have to feel. Maybe they're a bit worried about him teleporting away, but still, I don't think Nitrix would have escaped that situation personally. But regardless, just kind of talking about Twitch here, he's had a very kind of scary opening game. He got caught a lot from the death sentence, which is just going to convert into a kill. Caitlyn Thresh is a horrible lane to play against as an AD or a support or bot lane. The amount of harassment just from their auto attacks alone is pretty much unstoppable. They're just going to keep being in your face. Twitch doesn't do very well early game, but going into mid to late, I say early game against Caitlyn Thresh, but going into mid to late, if he can start to be in those teamfight situations, in fact, hold that, speaking of teamfights, Artidos have been caught from a gold card, he's trying to queue away, Ace in the hole comes down, will be blocked out from Exeter. As I was saying, Twitch will claw his way back into this game if there are a couple of big team fights happening, because his spray and pray gives him max range, kind of, I believe it's 600, 300 range I should say, and an additional 20 attack damage at level 1 ult, so he will be able to put down some significant pain. It's just a case of whether smart people can put themselves in that position in the first place, Pulse, because right now they're being split pushed to hell.
Yeah, they still have very good initiation, but the counter initiation purely from Fresh, I mean, that's essentially all they need, is really, really strong. And also the initiate from Dignitas is probably slightly better as well. So whenever they want to go for a fight, they can do it. And if they want to back off from a fight, again, it's in their toolkit. So Eurostar will be the one to kind of stop those plays happening. And it's very difficult for smart people because they can initiate, but they'll probably lose. They're not strong enough right now. They're too far behind. But if they try and get a pick out, it's definitely something we could see. Because Vi does have a lot of picking potential, along with Twitch as well. Such a long-range gap close, along with Twitch having the stealth. But Dignitas moving down to the bot lane. And looks like they're starting to siege the inner turrets now.
Yeah, and the other problem about playing Twitch when he's behind is you look at the team right now. Oh, Death Sentence has landed. I don't think Jero's going to be jumping on that. He's too far away from the rest of his team. Nice little Shock Blast Acceleration Gate combo. Chunks down, Cook My Sock, and also Samwise. But as I was about to say, in terms of playing Twitch, when you're against Malphite, when you're against high engage on your face champions like Malphite and Aatrox, it's sad times for Twitch. He needs a very strong peeling side. And right now, it doesn't look like he's really got one. Assault and Battery has been used on Yero. They're trying their best to pick up this kill, but from the side, here comes both Samwise and Cook My Sock. So they're going to have to back away this time. And in fact, it's going to get from bad to worse because Malphite jumps in. That's going to be a kill on Vi instantly. Looking for the second kill as Caitlyn will go down courtesy of Zyra. They're now chasing this one out, but I don't think they're going to be able to pick up the kill. Again, Bloodwell comes good for Impaler, but he's going to spawn back up again in the middle of the team, but he will manage to dark flight away. Poison's kind of tickling down, but it won't be picking up this kill. Death Sentence lands again. My god, Yero is awesome on Thresh.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen him miss a death sentence for quite a while, and each one of them has almost invariably picked up a kill. Moving down the mid lane, Cook myself looking to land the pick a card onto the right person, because it doesn't stick around for as long, so he doesn't have the same zoning potential, but it doesn't matter if you stun them. Grassing Witch comes across from Exeter, but he's pretty much out of mana. The plant will pick that one up, and in fact, no, Twitch did. Now, Nitrix and Yero on the back foot. Atros on the front line, looking to do some damage, following up with those excessive forces. He will still be chasing after, and Sam splashes over the wall. The Expunge gets the kill, still following after, charging up the Vault Breaker. We can easily use this to re-engage onto Samwise. Impaler heads around the corner. Sark is stealth. He could turn around and do some damage, but Vio Cask will just throw them back.
Well, that was a good fight there for Samex in particular. He managed to pick up a couple kills, so he is going to have over 1,000 gold in his back pocket. Can very nearly afford Blade of the Ruined King, which is just a core item on Twitch. He desperately needs it. First or second, I would say. Most Twitch players will rush Blade of the Ruined King, then go into something like Infinity Edge, just for that pure damage output in team fights, as we saw previously. So there we go, yeah, Blade of the Ruined King has been finished off, and Double Doran, so he's fairly tanky right now in terms of AD carry. But the problem is that even with that double kill, even with him getting a bit of farm under his belt, his team are still well and truly backs against the wall. 31.8k to 24.5, and 3 towers to 0. Presence, global map presence, is just completely up against smart people right now, Pulse. And when you play AD carries like Twitch, yes, he has the ambush, but that's completely mitigated from the Destiny coming out from Twisted Fate. He can't split push anymore.
Yeah, we'll see how this works out. Because Twisted Fate, as you said, he can completely stymie those split pushes. Destiny Gate comes down, Flash comes out from Jerome, and doesn't choose to pursue either. He had the flash if he wanted to go all in, but burning the Malphite ultimate that close to their base was not something they really wanted to do. Their strength is in team fights, because they're that far ahead that in a 5 versus 5, they force a 5 versus 5 fight, and then, well, they will invariably win. They are just stronger overall, but they don't want to overextend with a pick that doesn't potentially work out, or has a chance of backfiring. So, as a Twitch player yourself, Matters, you know the picking potential of Samix's Twitch himself. So, do you think right now they need to try and get those picks out, or do you think it's too risky of a play?
I think it's too risky when you have a fed Aatrox on 7 for 1 and Malphite as well. The amount of just in-your-face engage is far too high for Samix to be able to stomach. And that's not even adding into the account Twisted Fate. And, you know, he can pop off the Destiny just to give vision on Twitch. Artratos, again, is just playing so ballsy, jumping in ahead of his team. And yes, he used the ultimate, but it's not going to kind of result in a kill. However, has he done enough damage to push back this kind of defense mechanism? No, he hasn't. Just with one E there was pretty much the entirety of the creep wave getting disintegrated and dissolved. So that's going to be that mid-tower push already cancelled.
Yeah, now they're on the back foot once again. Every time they get a pick, they're just too tanky. They can never actually get the right person, and they can never nuke down the person they actually catch with Assault and Battery and then the follow-up. Nitrix actually finds himself caught with Jerome and Atratus, but he's actually very tanky in his own right. Dragonforce comes down onto Samwise, chained in with the Crescendo, picks up the kill in the mid lane onto the AD carry. Atratus on front lines. He is splitting himself from the rest of the team, doesn't choose to use his Vault Breaker, and that's 4 versus 5. If they're going to pick a fight, this is the best time to do it.
Yeah, that was poor positioning from Samwise there. I'm keeping an eye at top lane as the double force goes in. Jerome is very, very low, but does Nitrix have the burst damage? Yes, he does, and the sustained damage as well with the Sunfire Cape. That is a nice little pickup at top. However, that's going to be unstoppable force, but not able to be utilized in this fight. But it was kind of poor positioning from Samwise. He was at the front of his team as an AD carry, never the position you want to be in. But it was a beautiful pickup as well from Exeter. That's taking nothing away from Exeter, grasping roots into Stranglethorns, and suddenly Samwise was just 100 to 0 in a split second. There was nothing he could do after he was initially caught. That's the kind of picks that you're talking about, Pulse, and that's exactly what smart people have to do another 2 or 3 times in these fights to manage to close this one out. Somehow, I still got the back there from Jerome. I thought that, you know, Vi had hit him beforehand.
Yep. Well, he's this is kind of like split second before you recall, when you're essentially, even if someone tries to interrupt you, it doesn't work out. But Samix looking for this pick onto Samwise, and actually starts off the fight with the extra attack speed from Ambush. You can probably get this out, but a perfect 90 caliber net completely stymies that pick potential. And that was actually absolutely perfect from Samix. I'm fairly surprised he did position himself behind Caitlyn, but I guess it was too far forwards where he might have been picked himself.
Interestingly enough, it wasn't just the ambush, but it was also Blade of the Ruined King. As soon as he came out of the ambush, you get the attack speed from that, and the Blade of the Ruined King slows them down by 30% of their target's movement speed for 3 seconds. So it was just basically saying, I want you to be slow, I want you to be an easy free target for me to pick up, but wasn't able to take it down either way. However, you're going to say smart people are still behind, but they're starting to get this ball rolling, Pulse. Still an uphill climb, but they're on the first few rungs of the ladder.
They are indeed, and now they're able to get these good picks out. That's exactly what they need, as you said before, and then if they chain it into a team fight, then they're in good shape. But the last pick that they got, they essentially used 2 ultimates to pick that one up, and as a result they couldn't go for it because they didn't have, you know, the big AoE ultimates. They're using it on single targets, and while that's good and while that's stopping and quelling the pushes, it's not enough to straight up win a team fight and pick some objectives of their own. No turrets currently down for smart people, but they're still hanging on into those inner turrets.
They are. That's the important thing. I always say, you know, in solo queue and also in competitive matches, it's never over until an Nexus falls, but it's never ever over until an inhib falls down. You've always got the chance to make counter plays, you've always got the chance to pull yourself back in. This is the League of Throws after all. Destiny comes in and the gold card as well, forcing the flash from Ultratos. So that is a big initiation tool taken out of the box there for smart people, and forcing him back. This is going to allow Dignitas to put a lot of harassment, a lot of damage down into this mid tower. Ultratos going out by himself here. Flash from the crescendo as well from this hack, but again Ultratos going way too deep without the rest of his team. Stranglethorns has been used. That's a double kill as well, and suddenly 3 players fall within a second of one another. And I've got to pose the question to you there, Pulse. Was that a smart play from Vi?
Not when Jerome will also fall as well. They're just dropping like flies one by one. And I guess he wanted the initiation. He saw the opportunity where they were stacked up and he could land the CC on a couple people with Assault and Battery, but his team being a little too far behind, they couldn't layer their ultimates on top of each other. Had everyone been in position, yes, it would have been a good initiate, but he couldn't have the luxury of initiating that early, not being tanky enough, and that's just cost them 2 towers and an inhib, and that turtle has just been cracked.
Yeah, well, actually, Samwise could be picked up on the retaliation, flashing away. Samox is trying his best to catch up here, has his death sentence again. From Euro has just been landing them pixel perfect all game long. Samwise only has about 50 HP remaining, up to 60 now, but will manage to escape, and that's all that matters. So it seemed like just a few seconds ago you were talking about all the, outer towers being up, and then suddenly, just a few moments later, mid-inhib is down. I feel Atratos' engages this game have been slightly off point. Fair enough, he went in there, Crescendo was used, but Sona had to flash the Crescendo pulse. Zyro was not close, Samox was not close, so it was a case of being 1 versus 4 with the Crescendo on top of it, and as soon as they were out of that stun dancing around, he's just instantly dead.
Yeah, they have not been quite where you wanted them to be, and the thing with Vi Ultimate, right, is because it's such long range, and because you can also run away from it, it's not like instant like a Malphite Ultimate, so you can also be pulled further away from your team. And while that's it's a double-edged sword basically, because if you get caught out and actually gets to catch onto Yeristar using the Vault Break to push him further back in, the box comes down and Sponge comes out along with the spray and pray, picks up the kill. That's how you're meant to use the ultimate metas, not when you can run away, flash, or even 90 caliber net out. But with that pick, I'm not even sure if they can still go for a fight. Split push coming from Cook My Sock.
Yeah, indeed, and that is 2 ultimates down for a support, however. Destiny is being used as well, so that's just to escape from the jaws of Exeter and Jerome. But that's going to be the Assault and Battery and Spray and Pray, both down now for the next, say, about 80 seconds or so, both those champions. So it is going to be a little while before they can hard engage again, but it was a good pickup regardless. Getting a kill at this stage of the game is always good, regardless on who it is on. But again, Atrados is just finding himself in a really precarious position. Samwise with so much AD and Armor Shred as well. Last Whisper, Bloodthirster and BF Sword is going to cut through Atrados like he was never even there. That is another tower falling, and this gold is just hemorrhaging away. Now sat at about 13k gold advantage for Dignitas. Not a single tower has been taken down from smart people.
Yeah, Nitrix is getting to the stage where he's got so much armor he can tank the turret, but Exeter coming in from behind the Strangle Thorns lands onto one person, gets picked up immediately, and he does have his Rise of the Thorns. Now Nitrix going under the turret with Unstoppable Force. This time gets picked up. Samox now on the back lines as well, immediately shut down by Caitlyn. Jerome, last person standing. Atratos is coming out from the Death Chamber, but he just doesn't have the damage. He's essentially built tank, and he's not that tanky at best. Looks like he wants to initiate though, goes on to Samwise, well against 4 people, yes they're low, but Rom doesn't have the damage really, with Randuin's coming out, Godlike will go on to Samwise, another kill comes out, 2 for 1, and now with Caitlyn still alive, this is surely the tower and possibly another inhib.
Yeah, it looks very likely. There's another 2 seconds on Exeter and Dizhack respawning, but they're not going to be able to stop this push on the inhib, and they should be able to get by just fine. But Blade of Torment from Impaler, his E, is slowing by 40%, and when you add the box on top of that, that is basically just like a hour-long stun pulse. You can't get away from that situation. It's absolutely horrific to watch them play and just be like, oh god, I'm actually feeling their pain. But it's just a case that Dignitas UK, very reminiscent of when we used to watch Heimerdinger's Colossi a lot, Pulse. They'd get an advantage and they would just keep biting at that bit and constantly forcing it down the throat of the opposition. They get a couple kills and they're converting it into objectives. This is the team that I remember British Tea Time being very similar to as well, when they first burst onto the US Challenger scene.
Yes, indeed. Cook My Sock just turning the corner, finds himself Exeter, and Stranglethorns comes out. Actually gets a lockup just on the edge of it, and Cook My Sock just throws down the gold cards and completely stops Zyra in her tracks. He's still looking for the kill though, still following after. Gotta be careful, he's very overextended. Flash comes out of the brush, straight from Cook My Sock mechanics. And Rise of the Fawn, Zonia's comes down. That was actually very well led, but Zonia says no.
Silky play, but meanwhile around blue, but Vartrados again is taking the front line. This hack is very, very low. Assault Battery back on Nitrix, trying to get himself into position. Samux has been left by large free at the end though, but here comes Samwise, 14 and 3 right now. He has pretty much got a full item build, barring the Doran's Blade, and that's going to be Twisted Fate jumping on Sona at the end. So a 3-for-0 exchange. Samux is trying his best to escape, but there's the Vision Ward, and here comes Impaler. Samwise picks up another kill. He is looking for yet another one. That's going to be a double kill, 16 and 3, and that's going to be all she wrote for game number 2.
Yeah, and bring it to a 2-0 as well. And the question marks around, Samwise being a new AD carry, of course, just being in the trial period for Dignitas UK, but I don't think there's any questions around his performance. 16 and 3. That's pretty damn good.
Unfortunately, I disconnected at the end of game 1, but I believe that he was somewhere around the vicinity of like 10 and 1, 9 and 1 or so.
Yeah.
So those two games, he has performed extremely well. And I think that Dignitas are going to be pretty happy with him in the lineup right now. Of course, nothing's final. As you say, it's a trial period, I believe. But still, you can't fault those performances.